Are you as overwhelmed by content as I am? So for a few months, I've been catching myself in this scenario of whenever I'm preparing to cook or go for a walk or do something like that, that I'll spend like 5 to 10 minutes picking the perfect content to go along with it. And I'm wondering, what exactly is content? I feel like I don't really understand what we mean when we say it, because a novel isn't content and a painting in a museum isn't content, but this video is. There's so much of this content, in fact, that the sheer amount is overwhelming. And for people like me and maybe you who like to know everything or like to think they know everything, this boils down to us cramming our to-watch lists full of videos. At one time I had 700 videos on my to-watch list. I think at some point we have to admit to ourselves that we do not have the emotional or mental capacity to consume all these things we would like to consume. And I'm deliberately using the word consume here because there's a difference between watching something or listening to something and truly taking it in and using it to just filling a void, to use it to just not have to spend time with your own thoughts and emotions and ideas. It's not bad to listen to something while taking a walk or cook. I mean, I do it all the time. I think the why of it determines whether this habit is healthy or toxic. Because I've been wondering, why am I so obsessed with always listening to something? Why isn't cooking my meal or taking a walk in the forest enough? Just because we could potentially learn about everything doesn't mean that we have to. And it certainly doesn't mean that we have to sacrifice our own health and well-being in order to do so. And I believe that creativity is actually vital to our health and well-being. What creativity looks like might be very different for you than for me, but that doesn't make it less crucial. Creativity doesn't have to mean painting an oil painting or writing a novel. It can literally be anything in which you feel like you're engaging with your own creative spirit and in which you can get lost for minutes or hours or days without feeling as if you're missing out on anything. And if you're having trouble thinking about what that activity might be for you, then I would really encourage you to think back to your childhood and to think about what activities you enjoyed back then, what brought you joy in a way that is impossible to replace by content. And whatever that activity may be, as I mentioned, whether it be drawing, writing, arts and crafts, I really encourage you to pick that activity and make it a priority to engage in that activity at least once a week. Do it once a week for an hour. And if you feel you can do an hour, then do half an hour. Be honest, how much time are you spending a day, not a week, on listening to other people's thoughts? Why wouldn't you want to give yourself the opportunity to spend at least half an hour a week on listening to your own thoughts? This doesn't have to be an activity that has any type of result. And definitely it doesn't need to be a result that you want to show to other people. It can just be for you. Because the point of it is for you to remember that inherently you are not just a consumer of things, but you are a creator. I find that often we're afraid of creating things because we fear other people's judgment. And if that's a problem for you, as it used to be for me, then I encourage you to watch my last video on why other people's judgments or feedback can actually be a good thing. My name is Zhenya. Thank you so much for spending your precious time watching me, and I'll see you in the next one.